the recording.
Morning photos. Let's smile. Let's all smile and get a photo real quick.
Oh, wait a second. I'm not on. Am I on?
You're on.
Oh, I've lost myself.
Ready?
Yeah.
Cheese. Oh, yay. Carrie got on. You look great. Okay, everybody. So I will be introducing Lucinda. I just wanted to share that, we were coming up with ideas for Zoom meetings. And oh, Lucinda, are you recording this?
Yes, I have
Okay.
it recording.
Great. Yeah, we were coming up with ideas for Zoom meetings, and we were thinking about tapping into the expertise of our wonderful sorority sisters. We've got a lot of brilliant women that have different types of knowledge in our group. So Lucinda came to mind, and there were a few points that made it really exciting to have her expertise. I completed my doctoral dissertation and wrote it on female Fortune 1000 board members. And one of the findings was that a lot of women don't get to that executive management level because they don't have the financial know-how or expertise. And so, the fact that Lucinda is really savvy in this area and helps other women is incredibly powerful. Also, we've been in situations before where we knew it was important to be more financially savvy, and this encouraged Lucinda to educate more women on becoming financially independent and being able to conduct their own finances. So really, really glad to have her presenting today and sharing her expertise with all of us. I know this was a little, I just kind of wanted to hear her expertise for myself, but glad that everyone will be joining as well. And also a few notes about Lucinda. I'm pretty particular about people, and she has just, I've gotten to know her pretty well within Delta Gamma over the past couple years, and she's just such a bright light. And there's not a lot of people I would trust my finances with, but I keep saying when I'm ready, I'm going to be having her hunt down my 401ks and help me. The time just hasn't been ready yet. But also, having gotten to know Lucinda, there's some people in finance that you kind of wouldn't really trust them, or you wouldn't really trust them to not talk about your finances with other people. I know there's some people that are kind of talk a lot, and you get the feeling that Lucinda's not the kind of person that would do that. Just a few points about her. She's a certified divorced financial analyst. So I hope I never have to use those particular expertise with the divorce aspect, but she's been working in this arena for quite a while. And also, she started the Handbags for Hearts project in 2019 to help boost confidence for women in need. And we really got to know a lot about this project in our philanthropy event, where all of us Delta Gammas were talking about the different philanthropy that we're involved with. So Lucinda, it was really neat hearing you talk about that then. She works for William Ryan Company, was raised in Indiana, bachelor's degree from DePauw University, and she's married with her husband and has 3 wonderful children and her mom and dog. So Lucinda, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you, Margaret. I don't know if you can, I was blushing for a time there, but thank you for those very sweet words. And I really, I take that to heart. So thank you. And I will do my best. Sometimes I get a little emotional when people talk about me and say such nice things. So I'll move on so I don't start crying before. Anyway, but Brooke was showing, Brooke's from DePauw too. So we made this great connection. Go Tigers, right? Yeah. So I don't have anything to paw anymore. I've been gone for so long. So I know.
I have a bunch of stuff. I'll give you some.
All right. I'm gonna jump right in, and at any time, I'm gonna leave you unmuted. So anytime you guys have questions, please feel free. This is recording. There were a few sisters that asked for it to be recorded because they wouldn't be here today. So I am recording this. Hopefully I will go for about 20 minutes and then questions afterwards. But like I said, if you have questions, please stop me. I will go through some of this rather quickly. So if you want me to slow down, just raise your hand or step in, okay? Let me get my screen shared here and we'll get going. So the conversation today is really about investing in yourself. And there's a lot of different ways to do that. One of them is financially and learning to be comfortable with your financial decisions. So I appreciate the opportunity to be here, and I welcome anyone to call me or talk to me or email me anytime with any questions whatsoever. I talk with women, mostly women, all week long. So I'm happy to take any phone calls or emails about anything you might just have a question about, want to know a little bit more. I'm a good second set of eyes, is what I like to say. Let's see, Margaret, thank you. You did a great introduction. I'm not sure I'm going to go through this bullet point by bullet point, but I wanted you to get a better feeling of who I am outside of work. Most of you know me through Delta Gamma, and it's been such a great joy for me the last couple of years to get to know everyone better. I love to bake. I'm a golfer, and I do love fitness and food. So thankfully, I like to work out because I like to eat too. So it's a good combination right now. A lot of people like to ask, how did I get to where I am? And I refer to it as the perfect storm. Some events happened in my life. My husband was laid off for a period of 3 out of 5 years. And I went back to work, was working in a job I wasn't crazy about, looking for something with more meaning. And then my dad passed away. So all of a sudden I found myself helping my mom with finances, and we had questions, and my husband and I had worked through different financial situations as well, but all of this was coming to a head, and I had the perfect opportunity given to me here at William Ryan Company to start as an advisor assistant. And I fell in love with it, and I love helping people and being able to help women feel more confident about their decisions. Has just, I love it. So I love what I do now, and I'm happy to help. So here we go. Financial freedom. I like to call it financial freedom, whether that's you having peace of mind for your retirement, or whether it's knowing that you've set up a nice 529 college savings for your kids, or just feeling better about the decisions that you're making for you and your family. So women and finances, we are unique. We have different concerns. We have different outlook on finances from men. So we'll talk a little bit about this. We'll talk about how to set up your priorities and put a plan in action. We'll talk about your confidence with money, our lifespans, income, divorce, and how it can affect us. And a lot of times I am in this situation. My mom lives with us, so I'm a caretaker for my kids and my mom as well. So a lot of times women assume those roles on both ends of our lives. We have our kids when they're younger, and then we'll have our parents when they get older. So some of the conversations I have with women with finances is that it's a little uncomfortable because they feel like they're the only ones. And so some of the information I will share today is about you realizing you're not the only female that may feel a certain way or be in a certain situation. So some of the information, some of the statistics that I'm going to share with you here shortly will go through that. We are all in this together, so to speak. Not to be cliche though. So We'll talk about lack of confidence in financial knowledge. 55% of the women believe they know less than the average investor. Fewer than 2 in 10 women feel very well prepared to make wise financial decisions. And then in a study Fidelity Investments did in 2015, 77% of the women were confident discussing medical issues on their own, but only 47% were comfortable talking money and investing with a financial professional. So how do these statistics translate? Part of what makes us unique is that women earn 80 cents to every dollar a man earns. And I'm sure you all have heard the statistics it's been more and more frequent over the last couple of years about how women in the same position still are earning less. So this has come a long way though, because I remember back when these numbers were 60, 70 cents to every dollar. Unfortunately, with the pandemic, more than 1 in 4 women are contemplating downshifting their careers or leaving the workforce completely. And again, the burden of having the kids at home or having to schedule the kids to get to school if they're in half days or 2 hours at a time has been a severe challenge for a lot of families. And so again, this will affect women financially as they move forward in preparing for retirement in particular. Our lifespan is approximately 5 years longer than men. So we, on average, live to 81 years and men live to age 76. By the year 2025, we're expected to control 66% of the US wealth. And only 35% of women surveyed take the lead in their household in working with a financial advisor. So you can kind of see where this is going. We will in the future control a lot of the finances due to our age, our lifespan, and how the money will be inherited. So we want to build the confidence and the education for women to manage that, to be able to manage this and feel confident about their decisions in the future. Then 90% of women will have sole responsibility for their finances at some point in time in their lives. So either through divorce or widowhood, we will control our own finances. And again, it's about building that confidence for women. So here's some more financial concerns. Trust me, I get to some good news in just a second. Not that this is all bad news. This is just leading up to how we can start building that confidence. So our financial concerns for women, that is 93% of the women in a survey are worried about having enough money to maintain their lifestyle through retirement. 90% are worried that they may outlive or fully spend all of their savings. 88% do not want to become a financial burden to loved ones, which would be their children. 75% want to be financially secure if they outlive their spouses. Now, these are all concerns. These are things that keep them up at night. 73% talk about not having enough money to pay for healthcare or nursing home care if they need that in the future. And these things can all be taken care of with some planning. So here's the good news. 44% are primary breadwinners in their families. 57% of all the bachelor degrees are now earned by women. 55% of all master's and doctorate degrees are earned by women. Let's see, what's the other one? I like this last one down here. The US, we contribute $1.6 trillion to the economy. That's a big number. So it's important for us to be confident about what we're doing with our money. So first, we're going to talk about financial goal setting and getting organized, prioritizing our finances, and then setting a plan in action. So getting organized. Let's talk about who is on your team. Your CPA, a lawyer, your financial advisor. A lot of times, your team is not necessarily talking to each other, but we see our role here at William Ryan Company as your team guide. So we like to know who your CPA is, who your lawyer is. So if there's a question that comes up, we can get on the phone call with them, with you, and ask the question or send a quick email to get answers for you. Another thing to do is to create a budget. We all talk about it, but not necessarily we don't do it. There's a great app that you can have on your phone or your computer, Mint.com. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but the Mint.com does everything from monthly budgeting to giving you an overview of all your finances. So you can use it minimally and you can use it exponentially. It's a great app. And no, I'm not related to Mint.com at all. I just have looked at different apps and I really do feel like that's the best one. Know your credit score. It's important to always know where you stand with your credit score. Manage your debt. Interest rates on loans. Know the interest rates. Can you get a better rate? Credit cards, and maybe we need to talk about consolidation for your debt. And know your investments and your risk tolerance. So this is easily stated, but not necessarily easy to come by. Some people can watch the market daily and be comfortable with it. Other people, it drives them nuts. It's too much stress on them. So you need to know where your risk tolerance is with your investments. And then also create an emergency family folder, which I have one here. I'll show you. We do it for our clients. We put all of your important files into a portable folder that in case of an emergency, either you need to get out of the house from an earthquake or a fire, God forbid any of that happen, or you need to get to the hospital with some information. This is just it's like a briefcase you can pick up and go and have all the information you need with you. And always want to make sure your beneficiaries are up to date on all of your policies. And again, I highly recommend a trust and a will setup, and I can connect you with some family lawyers if you need to do that in the future. But again, these are all people that we work with on a daily basis. These are the types of things that we help families get organized with their finances. All right, so we're going to talk a little goal setting and prioritizing. These are, this is a big list, so I'm going to kind of just bring them up on screen. Everyone's at different points in their life, and what's important to them, their priorities change. And sometimes they change more than once or twice during the year. But I would say on an annual basis, sit down with your advisor, if you're working with one, and go through your finances and your priorities. What's important to you? Do you need to move some of your savings over to a different account? Do you need to realign some of your savings? Are you thinking about relocating or starting a business? And of course, there's always the nonprofits and the charitable organizations that we want to help out. And so I refer to this as do good because Delta Gamma. But these are important. This is part of our priority and how we spend our money. I have more. We never want to talk about divorce. Nobody wants to go through it, but it does happen. I think the gray divorce, if you've heard it, the last statistic I read was that 65% of the divorces are now gray divorce, so that's someone 55 and older. So it's an unfortunate statistic that I don't like to repeat, and I hope that changes. But you know, we do have to prepare for these types of things in our lives. Maybe you're going to have a new job, or maybe you earn an inheritance, or you receive an inheritance. Excuse me. So these are things, again, your priorities change. Sometimes they can change during the year. Like when my husband was laid off, our priorities changed very quickly. Are you going to work part-time instead of full-time? Or maybe you're thinking about backing off on working at all. When can your family afford for you to do that? And then of course, there's always an unexpected illness or death. So some of these conversations, again, are uncomfortable. So you definitely want to find that person that you can trust and have that conversation with. Then we're going to talk about a little bit of the goal setting and putting a plan into action. First of all, I always recommend people to educate, and there's a lot of different ways you can do that. If you feel like you want to learn more on your own, there's some books here. I highly recommend The Power of Zero by David McKnight. It's a great book about retirement savings and how you get to that point of zero taxes during retirement. It definitely takes some planning, but it can be done. The Millionaire Next Door, and why didn't they teach me this in school? The other thing is you can attend webinars and seminars just like today. There's a lot out there, and if you ever have questions on something, I can probably point you to a webinar or seminar that either I've attended or know that's coming up. And then don't be afraid to ask questions. And I've always told my kids this since they were young, but no question is a dumb question. And if you don't ask the question, then you may never have an answer for it. So find someone you trust, maybe a personal referral, someone that's known in your community. And I always encourage people to go to brokercheck.finra.org. And you can pull up anyone's name. You can pull up my name, Bill Ryan, who I work with, pull up his name, and you can look for a background with FINRA. They're our federal organization that oversees all the representatives and financial advisors. So the part B of setting a plan to action, you want to set your goals based on your financial events, your priorities, and your risk tolerance. Everyone is different. And this is where a good advisor comes in, they sit down and they listen. They want to hear your story and put your plan in action, not because they have a plan that worked for 10 other clients that they might have, but because it'll work for you and what your priorities are. Key components of an action plan for finances, a lot of things here. We'll go through these kind of quickly, but these are things just to keep in mind. An emergency fund, the rule of thumb is 3 to 6 months of your income. And that's in case something happens, lose a job, or you're in between jobs for just a little bit, but you always want to have that 3 to 6 months of your income. I want to talk about retirement income. You can get retirement income from a lot of different places, your 401k, 403b accounts. Some companies still have pension plans, IRAs, a traditional IRA, a Roth IRA, or an inherited IRA. And the rules change on these all the time with the IRS and with the government too. So you always want to stay up to date, and having an advisor that you can talk to about that is super important. Retirement income from annuities. Annuities can be a great addition to your retirement income, depending on where your other money is coming from in your retirement. So it's just important to know what these things are and know what your choices might be in the future. Always want to know your Social Security benefits. I don't know if you know how to get to your benefits online, but now you can go to socialsecurity.gov, I believe, and pull up all of your information online and find out exactly where you are with how much you will earn in Social Security. Health savings account is a great account to have. It's a triple tax benefit. So if you want some more information, feel free to ask questions. And then real estate investments too. Great retirement income. Life insurance, and the life insurance rule of thumb is 6 to 8 times your income. And that's, you know, in fortunate circumstances if something were to happen, but it's important that you have this to fall back on, especially for younger families with kids still yet to go to college and mortgage overhead too. Want to talk about college savings, long-term care insurance, and putting together a will and a trust. And also a key component for retirement is Medicare and knowing where you stand with that. So we talked about, I feel like I've just like been a water hose from a fire hydrant or something and just blurted out a bunch of information, but we talked about some of the unique challenges that face women, getting organized and prioritizing, educating and asking for help, and then setting your plan in motion. And some of what I do, I have a YouTube channel with some 3 to 5 minute videos on what about those 401ks that Margaret had mentioned earlier. What are your choices for doing with a 401k? Should I do a traditional IRA versus a Roth IRA? So I try and take these one subject topics and put them in a 3 to 5 minute video. I also do some financial posting on Twitter and LinkedIn a couple of times a week. And then I send out a weekly newsletter that talks about current market conditions, as well as a lot of other helpful financial related articles. And I'm happy to put you on that list. And you can email me at lucinda@williamryancompany.com and put you on the news to receive the newsletter every week. And then there's also, I do webinars and seminars. The next one I have scheduled is things you always wanted to know about the S&P 500. And this will be in partnership with Prudential. So this is May 6th at 4:30. So just to give you an idea of some of the things that your advisors can and should be doing for you, here's a short list of what I do for my friends and my family and my clients. And then lastly, financial conversations are not always easy. And so I like this picture. It's a beautiful gateway to a financial freedom, but difficult roads do sometimes take a little winding path, but they often lead to beautiful destinations. And I appreciate you guys being here with me today. Again, there's my phone number and my email. I'm going to stop the screen share because I haven't seen any questions come through. So I want to see you guys and see if there's any questions and go from there. Does anyone have any questions off the top of their head or any comments or feedback?
So maybe what would you say for younger people who would like, what order of activities should you be at? For instance, should they start saving for college, or should they start saving for retirement, or should they get the life insurance? Or like, if you were to say, okay, right now I'm going to throw a dart, and where do I start?
So what age are you talking about?
Well, I'm thinking for my children, or 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, like, so just at different stages, where would somebody start? Or that was kind of like, what is the order to tackle?
Okay, that's a great question. So a lot of it will depend for, someone in their early 20s, do they have college debt? Are they paying for college on their own? Those are important questions that have to probably be dealt with from a family standpoint. If someone in their early 20s is interested in starting planning for retirement, or would I recommend that they start planning for retirement? And yes, I do. For my kids, once they turn 18, we open up a Roth IRA account for them. And Roth IRA is unique because as you get older, there's no required minimum distribution on it. That money can be used for a lot of different things and not just for retirement income. And there's also some income, like once you make over a certain amount of money, you cannot contribute to a Roth IRA anymore. But over a time period, let's say you put in $20,000 in the first 5 years into your Roth IRA account. Over time, that money will build, and that money that builds over time, you will not pay taxes on that when you retire. So not paying taxes in retirement will become a bigger issue for us in the future because of where we are with our economy right now. We're in some of our lowest tax rates as it is, and we're taking on a lot of debt. The pandemic surely didn't help. And then now President Biden is talking about a couple trillion dollar deal to improve our infrastructure. So where are we going to pay for all of this? And unfortunately, that dollar, our debt just keeps rising from a country standpoint. Knowing that we have the lowest tax rates that we're in, I encourage people to get into as many accounts that are tax-free when they come to retire. I hope that helps, Carrie, if that sort of answers your question.
Yeah, just great perspective.
And there are rules, like you can only give up to $6,000 to a Roth IRA account. If you're over age 50, you can add an additional 1,000. So there are different requirements on retirement accounts. So it just depends on what account you're talking about. But definitely they should start a savings fund. And if they can start with a Roth IRA, if their company that they're working for has 401k, absolutely start contributing. At least contribute to the amount that, if you have a matching program with your company for your 401k, at least contribute to that point. If they're going to match 3%, then at least kick in 3%. And if you can add more, then that's awesome too. Any other questions? Go ahead.
Both a question and a comment. I was definitely that woman who knew nothing and didn't want to talk about it and wouldn't have talked about it. I didn't grow up talking about money. And my dad also knew a couple of friends who, this is, 25, 30 years ago, whoever it was that was helping them invest lost all their money, right? So he distrusted people, which I know that's not you. I'm not trying to imply that, but
No.
that's distrust of letting people touch your money. And luckily, my husband, for whatever reason, said we need to go to a financial advisor, and that's what started it. And it really irritated me because I didn't want to talk about any of this. I didn't want to discuss it. I didn't like that somebody could see it, but they really helped with all of that. And the other thing, so everything you talked about, but one of the other great things that happened was a DG Founders Day, I don't know, over 10 years ago. And the guest speaker was a lawyer in California. And she said, I think she opened the line with, if your parents pass away and they don't have their, trust or whatever set up, I get 30% of your inheritance. And this is how she started talking. And it was quite fascinating because I think that's good. Maybe you could talk a little bit more about that. I don't remember the exact details, but you need other things in power of attorney and the medical power of attorney, because you can't see your kids, once they get 18, you have none of that information available to you. So maybe you could expand on that a little bit.
Sure. So it is true that once your kids turn 18, if they go off to college and something happens to them, no one's calling you. The hospital's not calling you for permission to do anything, because ultimately once you're 18, it's their child's decision to do whatever it is that they may, that they opt to do. So it is important to have right set up so that I know I've done it for both of my daughters. They've gone away to school so that if they do end up in the doctor's office or in the hospital, I can call and they can talk to me about their current status and what their prognosis would be and treatment and everything. So it's very important to always have a family lawyer in your court so that you understand these different options that you have. So one of that is setting up your trust and your will. And it's so important that if something were to happen to you, someone can go to these documents and talk and go, know who's going to take care of the kids, or where does this money go from here? Do you have a trust account? Is your property, is your home address, is that in your trust name? So there's a lot of different important legal aspects to setting up and being organized financially too. That's such a great point, Catherine, that these are check boxes that we sit here and we kind of check off for you. And not to say you do it all at once, but over time you can set these things up and be financially prepared for anything that comes your way, pretty much. Any other questions? No. Okay, so I was going to do
Lucinda,
yes.
can I talk for a sec?
Yes.
Oh, I just wanted to say this talk was really empowering, and there's a lot of good reminders here, and I'll need to get that trust will information from you. A lot of it, I think sometimes my husband will say he wants to do things because he likes to have control, but he's so busy, he doesn't always have the time. So I think that the trust will thing is one of those things that I'm going to have to handle, which is fine. And especially knowing that I would have your help. And I think, you mentioned the doing good. I donated my car to the nonprofit I'm involved with, and we just went to get our taxes done yesterday. And you said doing good can be financially helpful. It saved us over $1,000 in taxes because I donated my car. Mm-hmm. And it was nice, not all good deeds go unpunished.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So thank you for the talk today.
No, thank you so much for having me. So I have a book. Okay. Oh, I did want to show real quick. So this is the emergency family folder that I was talking about. It's a briefcase, and then inside, it's just a file folder. But we put that together for our clients, and again, it's something that you can grab, or your kids can go grab for you, or if your neighbor, if it's something identifiable that you can pick up and take with you in a hurry. And we all live here in California. We know that Mother Nature isn't always kind to us here, or anywhere else for that matter, but it's nice to have your important documents readily available to go with you if you have to leave somewhere quickly. But I do have a copy of the book, The Power of Zero, that I would like to give to someone. So I have your names here on a little piece of paper, and I'm going to draw a name, And it goes to Kathy.
Wow. Thank you.
I will get that to you. Thank you guys for attending. And if there's not any other questions, I'll stop the recording, and I appreciate you guys taking time with me today. And Margaret, Kathy, thank you so much for helping get this organized and put together.
Oh, Lucinda,
Thank you,
you're
Lucinda.
Thank you. Thank you. Brooke, anything? You're quiet over there.
I feel a little overwhelmed.
It can be, and that's where, and honestly, that's how people come to me, is they're overwhelmed, they don't know where to start. So that's how I like to help and assist people, is just getting them organized. Like I said, you don't do it all at once, but we put together a plan, and over time we take care of it. So
I just want to second that. I mean, I've already done this without Lucinda. I would love to have Lucinda do it. But yeah, Brooke, when you have that person, they're making sure you have all those things done. You don't have to do that. And I think that is very helpful. And then you can focus on what you need to focus on, which is the decisions that you need to make, right? But they will make sure that you get it all done. And that's to me what's so helpful, because otherwise, how do you know this stuff? It's great.
exactly. Yeah,
We talk about it all the time and just haven't done it.
yeah.
I have to agree with Catherine. When I got married for the second time, when I met my current husband, I mean, I knew nothing, absolutely nothing. He taught me everything. I had to learn about Roth IRAs. I never invested in a 401k. I didn't even know, I was really financially uneducated. And it's such a relief to be knowledgeable. I mean, you feel so much more secure. I completely agree. And Lucinda, you are right on in everything you say. I wish I could go to you, but I have my husband, so he's wonderful. But
No,
yeah, it's true.
yeah, it's important for women that are married to be part of that conversation. And there aren't too many advisors now that don't include the spouses, but it used to be, it was a male conversation. It was a gentleman's club, and they came in and sat down in the office and talked through everything, and that was that. But I don't know too many advisors that handle things that way anymore. So I'm happy to see that, and I'm so glad that you guys have people you're comfortable with. And that's the important thing, is to find someone that you trust and that you're comfortable with, because it is, they all of a sudden become very intimate with your personal details, and you need to be comfortable sharing that. So again, thank you. And anytime, if you guys, just like I said, anytime questions, just let me know. Thank you.
Thank
If I don't
you.
see you, talk to you guys, happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
Happy
You are a great
Easter.
presenter, and you are a great presenter, really.
Yeah.
Thank you. Let me